Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We will be hearing about Unity's use cases for intent data and how they use it to improve lead conversion and pipeline generation. Before we jump in, just a couple of housekeeping items. If you have any questions, please submit them in the Q&A tab, and we'll try to answer them at the end of the presentation during our Q&A time. And as always, we are recording this webinar, and we will be sending the on-demand link out afterward. So let's meet our speakers. I'm Marissa Bialik. I'm the Demand Marketing Manager here at Bombora. I will be your webinar host today. Joining me today is Carmen Goldstein from Unity. Carmen, want to say hi?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Carmen Goldstein, and I lead global marketing campaigns at Unity, spanning the full marketing lifecycle from acquisition to purchase and customer retention.
Awesome. Thank you, Carmen. I think I speak for everyone when I say we're excited to have you here today.
Yeah.
So for our agenda, we'll start with a quick introduction to Bombora and Unity in case any of you are not familiar with either of our companies. Then Carmen will dive into Unity's 3 problem areas that they needed to solve, their 4 use cases for intent data, and a success story. And then finally, like I said, we'll open it up for Q&A. So as I mentioned, we're going to start with an introduction to Bombora. So for any of you who are not familiar with Bombora, we're the leading provider of intent data with our branded company Surge. It tells you which businesses are researching the products and services that you and your competitors sell. And this is how Bombora helps marketing and sales leaders prioritize their resources to generate more leads, pipeline, and opportunities. And we do this by understanding the usual content consumption patterns of a business against an intent topic within our taxonomy. So these are related to B2B companies, products, solutions, or trends. And we then identify when these companies are consuming those topics more than they normally do, which is what we call a company surge. So to sum it up, it's a buying intent signal that indicates when a company may be in market for a particular B2B product or service, as well as the intensity of that interest. So Carmen, I will pass things over to you now so you can tell us about Unity.
Great. Thank you, Marissa. First things first, a quick background about Unity. So at Unity, we believe the world is a better place with more creators in it. And this philosophy is centered around serving creators, and it's really what motivates us to help solve the toughest engineering data and operational problems so that our digital creators can create and operate based on what they need. So they basically demand high fidelity content that are functional and iterative. So who are we really? Unity is the world's leading platform providing software solutions to both create and operate interactive real-time 2D and 3D content for various devices, from mobile phones to tablets to PCs, consoles, as well as virtual reality devices. Needless to say, we are a company born from gaming. However, we are focused on delivering tools for creating in 3D, whether it's in games, media entertainment, or digital twins. We are gaining momentum in digital twins, which basically means the real-time digital replica of most places and objects. So we see a lot of opportunities with the potential to scale in billions in revenue. And these non-gaming industries have now gone from concept to early traction to scale. And in this environment where there are different levels of adoption and maturity, as you all know, we rely on intent data, such as from Bombora, to provide us with information on which of our target accounts are in market for our digital twin solutions. So for this session in particular, I'll be focusing on our top 3 current problem areas at Unity. First is increasing our marketing qualified lead to opportunity conversion rate. Second is run ABM efforts, account-based marketing efforts with the account-based intelligence beyond what sales provides us from a qualitative perspective. And lastly, identify Unity's cross-sell opportunities at the most optimal time so that we can increase their lifetime value and increase their average deal size per account over time as well.
So Carmen, I think a lot of organizations can relate to these problem areas, and teams can definitely relate. How did your team identify that these were issues, and how did you come to the decision that intent data could be the solution for you?
Great question. So as you know, Unity is still in the growth stage or growth mode. And so our pipeline goals continue to grow at a higher rate every year. And with that, we need to be able to work smarter and at scale. So what we look at is primarily in the conversion side of things, right? So one is, are we generating the right leads? Are these leads turning into MQLs? And are these MQLs turning into opportunities? Because at the end of the day, our goals are tied to the opportunities. And where intent data really comes in is, for example, for the gaming industry, our products and solutions are most sellable when we market to them at the right time, the right stage of their game development cycle. With our digital twin business unit, there are so many different levels of maturity across the different B2B industries, whether it's energy, it's manufacturing, industrial machinery, architecture companies. So we need updated and real-time account intelligence to be able to market and personalize at scale. And this really ties into our cross-sell opportunities because we don't just sell one product at Unity, we sell a lot of products. And depending on the company's pain point or use case, we are able to, from a product perspective, really enhance the projects based on what we know if they're in market or actively searching for complementary solutions.
Awesome. I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. So let's hear how you're solving these problems.
All right. Actually, before I continue, I do want to preface to the audience that we are in the initial stages of utilizing intent data in our ABM efforts. So I will be going through 3 use cases we are actively using today and 1 use case that's in the future state, meaning this will hopefully be implemented within the next year as it requires engineering resources to do so. So before activating each of the use cases that I'll be talking about in a minute, we identified topics of interest that we wanted to track. So 84 topics from our non-gaming verticals, basically related to digital twin, and 64 for our gaming vertical. So the first use case is enabling sales outbound efforts. In this example, you're seeing a Looker dashboard where we connected Bombora intent data to our Salesforce instance to visualize intent topics and scores by each of our managed accounts. So we have 2 views. On the left-hand side, one based on accounts by individual topics and scores, and the other based on accounts on the right-hand side in orange, the other based on accounts by aggregate topics and aggregate topic scores. So what we do is we provide sales with training, particularly looking at the sales unassigned accounts that are not typically in their radar, and identified which of these accounts are surging based on particular topics they select. So we have that up here. Sales also uses this by filtering for the region and internal segment based on their assigned territories. They then select a specific topic or look at all of the surging topics, sorting company's topic score from highest to lowest. Our second use case is creating dynamic target account lists in Demandbase bound by Bombora intent data. So in this example, we provide the parameters within Demandbase. So what you can see in the orange is a set of energy target domains associated with energy sub-industries, which are then bound by medium or high intent of our selected digital twin topics. So I mentioned, I think there were 84 topics earlier that we selected for our digital twin keyword set or topic set. What I do want to highlight is that we have activity date based in the past 3 months instead of, the last 14 days or the last 30 days. The reason why is that the energy industry in particular is still in its early traction within the digital twin space. And therefore, looking at a shorter time frame would produce too few results for performance marketing to even action on. And then our third use case shows how we utilize intent data to optimize our display campaigns beyond the typical firmographics or ideal customer profile parameters. So in this example, we provide a static list of target accounts and serve up different content and creatives based on surging intent topics. So you can see here, we have development operations or DevOps as an example, and we provide a DevOps creative. For faster development cycles, we specifically note that within our 6 key gaming trends of 2022, which is more of an awareness piece. So far, we are seeing good results with a 5 percentage point increase in click-through rates and a significant volume of accounts with increased page views from our baseline.
Quick question on these campaigns. Are these ABM campaigns, are you doing one-to-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many?
Yeah, so the creative on top is actually a one-to-few campaign specific to our current Unity Engine customers, while the bottom, so basically you can really utilize DevOps or DevOps products when you have the Unity Engine, so it makes your projects better. While the bottom creative is a one-to-many campaign specific to our gaming prospects, also some of the customers who are actively or in market to develop a game.
Okay, great, thanks.
Of course. Lastly, in the next 2 slides, I wanted to show you what our ideal state looks like so that we can utilize, ideally, Salesforce as our one-stop shop to provide sales with insight into our accounts and lead contact engagement. So this current view that you see here is powered by Terminus and shows the top Bombora topic searches that you see highlighted in blue over the last 90 days, along with activity information and people engaged. However, this view is only at an individual account level. So you would have to search for the account, click through account insights, and see all of these. The next view is the ideal state, where we want to be, that I mentioned earlier would require engineering resources. To be able to see a consolidated view of all of the accounts by journey stage, by activity, by intent topic, and score. And the idea behind this is to find cohorts to prioritize, especially if you don't have a lot of marketing budget. And I hope some of you have experienced that, because I have year over year. And be able to really prioritize and sell to and market to at scale, unless the account obviously is from a one-to-one ABM perspective, then we would track that individually. So the idea is to really kind of train both sales and marketing professionals to use this and to be held accountable for, hey, these are accounts that are in market. Let's go and engage with them. Let's make sure they're in our retargeting in our one-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many ABM campaigns. So what we have really seen thus far is immediate success in using Bombora intent data, specifically in our digital twin business. First is, I'll walk through the methodology before the exciting result, but first is, we utilized the company surge report before we even got access to Demandbase to generate a list of accounts that resulted in, the 70 plus high intent score. And this was based off of the 84 topics that we selected for digital twin and metaverse related keywords. Second is we compiled a list of our target accounts, both with high intent, all with high intent, and segmented them based on the use case. So within the 84 topics, we actually have divided them into 3 or 4 use cases. And so we divided our target account lists based on the surging topics that way as well, and by sub-industries. Next, we utilize the TAL, the target account list, for one-to-few ABM efforts. We specifically promoted the Road to the Metaverse webinar series to a targeted list of accounts within the use cases within the specific intent topic cluster. What that resulted into was the account, or the leads within the account, they actually registered, attended the webinar, immediately filled out a contact us form to talk to digital twin sales team within 24 hours of the webinar. And we were able to see and help generate for sales a 6-figure opportunity that was basically created within the next 2 days. Literally happened, if I recall, Thursday was when we found out the lead filled out the contact us form, and then by Monday the op was created and is in qualification stage. So we're very happy to see the result thus far.
That's awesome that you guys saw success so quickly. Very cool.
So to summarize, we use Bombora intent data to help improve 3 things: lead to opportunity conversion, data-driven account-based intelligence, and cross-sell opportunities because we sell a lot of products. We currently use Bombora intent data across 3 use cases and 1 for feature state that I hope to be implemented within the next year. So enabling sales outbound efforts, as you saw with that Looker dashboard. Next is creating target account lists for value-based ABM campaigns. Definitely don't forget to segment based on the high intent and topic clusters, because then it gets really much better, more personalized in terms of what you can actually serve up from a creative and a content perspective. Third is optimizing display campaigns beyond the typical, firmographic ideal customer profile. And lastly, as I mentioned, future state, integrating Bombora into Demandbase, visualized in Salesforce as a one-stop shop for sales and marketing efforts.
Awesome. Thanks, Carmen. So I know, to me, it's always so interesting to hear how different organizations are using intent. And I really loved how your team has started out slow and you have plans to expand it further as you get it rolled out with Demandbase and Salesforce. But even so, you're still already seeing results. That's really cool. And I think it definitely goes to show that you don't need to jump in all the way right at the beginning. Start off with what your team has the resources for, and you can build on over time, and as you have more resources and more experience and knowledge and everything. So thank you for sharing.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, so let's open it up for Q&A. Again, you guys can submit your questions in the Q&A tab on your screen or in the chat, and we'll answer them as they come in. So it looks like we have a question here. The first question we have is, can you tell us a bit about using intent data for targeted ads? And how did you integrate intent data within Google Ads or any other platform?
Yeah, so what we do is actually separate. So for example, we would start with, I think what you saw the spreadsheet earlier had all the different topics that we selected. We then work with our performance marketing team. They integrate it via DV360, specifically for display. So that we run separately. So there's 2 ways we can do it: outside of Demandbase to run display, and which is basically working directly with DV360, or the other is via Demandbase. So we're able to actually track all the different metrics that I believe we saw earlier regarding which accounts we were actually serving up to, how many accounts we've engaged within our target account list. So I would honestly prefer the latter, because there's a lot of information and key metrics that we can get without having to manually pull lists from different systems and then match them to see, hey, how many of our target accounts did we actually engage based on the display campaign that we put out?
Gotcha, makes sense. And what platforms were you using for display ads?
Various. So I am not at liberty to say at the moment because we are actively changing our tech stack, but currently, I would say that we're using Google Display and Demandbase. That's basically what I can say at the moment. Yeah.
Sure. Next question is, with Unity's roots in gaming and really being known for that, how has intent helped identify new markets or helped with product decision in your other lines of business?
Yes, that's a great question. It's actually a lot easier to find accounts in market, more in the industrial space, more in the digital twin space than there is in the game space. Specifically for the digital twin space, we really look at, for example, if we're looking at architecture companies, right? There are particular topics like BIM 360, AutoCAD, all those different topics that really relate to what they do. I think what's really important is to understand that, hey, what does this product do? That's first. And are there accounts that are potentially in market? And this is working with not just sales, but product marketing as well. And then potentially find those lookalikes based on the topics that you see. So what I would do is go through the Bombora company search report, for example, and say, hey, are these particular accounts that product marketing is telling us are the best fit accounts for these products? Are they showing up in what's actually in market or actively researched based on the topics that I'm pulling? And if there is a mismatch, we go back to the drawing board and say, hey, these are the different topics. These are different accounts that are actually searching for the topics related to the product's use case. What are we going to do? What's happening? And then we're able to find that white space. But it's really important for us to do that kind of white space analysis across the board. So we can say, hey, between product marketing, sales, even in our opportunities within Salesforce plus Bombora, be able to kind of cross-reference all of that really helps us a lot.
I think that's a good point with this question is, a lot of people think of intent data as being, just a marketing thing or just a sales thing, but it's really important, I think, that you get other teams involved. So, having product marketing involved, making sure that your C-suite is, on board as well. Sales and marketing are the ones using it day to day, but everyone in different departments should be involved in the planning and the setup and everything as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely a huge collaborative effort, especially with account-based marketing to get everyone's buy-in. So we are currently, in flight with an overall kind of integrated marketing strategy that me and my team are running. And so bringing in even PR, communications, organic social, SEO, all of that will be informed with data. And that will kind of help us not just kind of streamline our marketing efforts, but also be smarter with our budget.
Definitely. Next question is, do you guys use any demand side platforms or DSPs with intent data?
No, not yet. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Initial stages.
Absolutely. There's time to grow. Next question is your approach to evaluate the results of intent data and decide on actions an automated one, or does it need a larger team to handle all the insights provided?
It's not necessarily. It's basically, it depends on how many people are involved. So for now, it really was kind of, I would say it's an executive decision between myself, a marketing operations person, and the VP of growth marketing. So in terms of implementation, it does require collaboration between one performance marketing manager, one campaign manager. It doesn't require a village to get all of this set up, especially in the initial working stages. But once you start integrating more systems together, right? So Bombora into Demandbase, sure, required marketing operations, but now integrating that into Salesforce that I mentioned was future state, that really requires the village situation.
Absolutely. It looks like that is all the questions that we have at the moment. If you type fast, get your question in now, but give you guys a couple seconds here.
And if there are any questions the audience wants to ask me after the fact, especially as we kind of get more of our bearings together, when we're trying to finalize our MarTech stack and all of that, feel free to just shoot me an email too.
Absolutely. All right, nothing new has come in. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you again to Carmen, and have a great day, everyone.